Everyone, good morning and happy Tuesday. It's September 26th. This is the Plant-Based Morning Show, presented, sponsored, brought to you all by Compliment over at lovecompliment.com, where we've got fun new sweepstakes happening that Doug will tell us about in a minute. Other Compliment news, I got my new Omega Complex, which is no longer a pump, but is now capsules. And I'm quite excited about that because I don't like pump stuff as much as I like capsules. So that's good because I was feeling a little short on omega-3s. Had to go with a lesser brand, and I hate to do that. But anyway, adding Doug in here, start to a new week for the Plant-Based Morning Show at least, and we're in full swing. Fall's in full swing. Doug is here. See if he did any tractor rides or hay rides or pumpkin patches this weekend with the family.
Matt, you look so vibrant with your full of omegas. Your brain must be pumping right now with lots of
maybe
good brain juice.
Well, then if that's true, then it's working really well because I have not gotten a lot of sleep recently at all. The puppy has really made everybody stop getting sleep. It's just when one person wakes up, everyone's up, and somebody's got to be up at 6 a.m. every weekday. So and often for soccer on weekends as well. So it just means you can't go to bed late, and that's what I often do. So I'm not sleeping a lot, but I'm glad that the omegas appear to be paying off after 1 day of usage or 2 days.
Definitely, I can definitely tell. Yep, it's happening.
Good. All right. So what's up with you? Any hay rides?
No hay rides. I think we're gonna do that this weekend. Do a little apple picking, which typically involves a hay ride at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't feel like I fully embraced the fall yet. But I'm getting there.
Yeah, I would. It's in full swing in that NFL football is on and it's a little cooler out. But you're right; it doesn't quite feel fall yet. We've still had some 80+ degree days, and that doesn't feel like fall. I did make bought one fall ingredient for a chili recipe that I found from Rancho Gordo. Involved butternut squash, which I'm not a big squash eater or sweet potato eater. Don't really like them, but I thought I would try it in this chili. And, it was okay. But I did buy butternut squash already pre-chopped because I'm just decided the point in my life when I deal with chopping up butternut squash is done. I'm finished with that. So I just went for the good old chopped up. I don't think it was that much more expensive. And I didn't have to get my hands all that allergic reaction that I get. And I think other people get too, or whatever it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, your hands your hands kind of like swell and get itchy. Because of that, there's like this weird tackiness of the squash that gets on that makes, I don't know what it is. It goes away. It's not
on the outside, on the shell of it.
No, the inside, the pulp.
Oh,
I think it's from the inside. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's just it's just like having to get the knife out and you always get the knife out, but it's just the amount of force required to chop up a butternut squash is just too much. It's just not working.
Yeah. You're definitely gonna lose a finger.
It's possible.
So speaking of football, I got a hot take.
Okay.
I think this whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. Kelce, is that how you say his name?
I think it's Kelce.
Kelce. I think it's all a ploy because people aren't watching enough football. Now we got this whole new fan base of people who are going to start paying attention to football, and the Chiefs because of Taylor.
Okay, well, this is the first that I have heard of this. I'm just Googling it.
What? I thought everyone had just. It's everywhere. It's so everywhere. She went to a football.
It says they hung out before the game.
And then she went to the game, and then they drove away from the game together in a convertible.
Oh, okay.
Went out to dinner.
All right.
I don't know how you missed that, man. It's been everywhere. Including sports news. Yeah,
I don't know, just in a different world, I guess. Is he a tight end? Yes, he's a tight end. Okay, good. Well, that's exciting. It says Kelce jerseys have popped 40% sales since that happened, so that's big news. Is that what Taylor Swift fans would just go start buying Travis Kelce jerseys because they see that she's dating him now?
I don't know. Maybe. I saw something that so she sat up in like the press box, or not the press box, one of the boxes with his mom. And there's just a random guy who sits, in the seat in front of the box. And I saw a thing today estimating how much that seat is going to be worth for
Oh yeah,
because people are
right.
in anticipation that she might show up to another game, and get to sit like a few feet away from Taylor Swift. Be a big deal.
Man, that dude is probably just loving life right now, sitting on that pile of gold, pile of
Absolutely.
cash, gold mine.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Interesting. All right, good. So that's your football hot take.
That's my football hot take. It's all a ploy by the NFL.
Okay, possible. All right, people are here. Kelly K, Mr. Jeffrey, Kate, who agrees with my butternut squash issue. I think about the hand allergy or whatever that is. Anne Marie's here. I think doesn't she also can't believe I didn't know about that news. Mr. Jeffrey says, "Isn't every drive for Doug a hayride?" Sorry, bad pun. I actually thought about that as I was saying it, and I said, "I'm going to shy away from that one. It's just I'm not going there." But Mr. Jeffrey did. Okay, my mom saw Taylor in the stands video, and she ate chicken with ketchup and maybe ranch. Says Kate, "What is that about? People care about that too?"
People care about anything, man. Anything with her in it.
All right, good. All right, well, let's see. I'm trying to think of what else we did this weekend. Not that much. Kids had some soccer. My daughter might have had a concussion. She's going to the doctor, being taken out of school at this moment to go to the doctor. Not from soccer, but from playing with her cousins roughhousing, and she got tackled and hit her head on the ground and didn't want to get up. Yeah, so now.
Ooh, nice.
So she's showing all the signs of concussion, which we are well versed in, and I'm guessing she had one. So
yikes. Sorry to hear that.
Sorry, Mom. Meant to call you, Mom, and tell you that. Actually, I was going to tell you after the doctor's appointment. I was going to let you know everything was good, but now you know. Yeah. All right. So what else? Anything else? Anything else from your end?
I think I have my first pull up injury.
Oh, okay.
That's the word I was looking for. I don't know. Something happened. I was doing my pull-ups yesterday, and something happened in my neck, and it's like really bothering me. I haven't I can't.
Wow.
Can't
and just 5 days before October when you were going to do them on camera. I can't believe the timing. What a terrible coincidence that happened.
A terrible thing. You should have seen me. I was on like 15 in a row.
Yeah.
Just going and now unfortunately I can't do it for you guys.
Funny anymore. How things happen, how that timing works out. What a bummer.
But I do have some news about our sponsor, our I guess you could call it our sponsor. We don't really take sponsors. Our company, our nutrient supplement company, Complement.
Yeah, which by the way is the reason we do this show without any ads, right? So they do a service, right? It's not often part of the show that we talk about Complement. We do now and then, but keep in mind we've done this a year now with no ads, and that's with advertisers beating down the door trying to get onto this bidding war. I mean, so Complement allows the show to go on without that. So
that's right.
Don't hate on the Complement ads. I mean, no one does, but just reminding you, the company is doing a good thing.
But we're bringing back our popular sweepstakes, and this time, Mr. Jeffrey and all of our Canadian listeners, you can win too. And it's open to U.S. and Canada for the first time. Now, this is a big one. It is and we're giving away a 6-day or 6-night trip to an eco resort in Mexico, in the Mayan jungle of Mexico, alongside a beautiful freshwater blue lake. It's absolutely stunning. Our CMO Michael has spent a few weeks there, and I mean, it's just like it really truly looks like paradise on earth. The owners are vegan,
right? You said that, yeah, vegan resort.
Yep, it's not entirely vegan. But they have a huge vegan menu. The owners are vegan, and so everything they do kind of slants vegan, and is just a perfect place for a plant-based person to get away. And you can enter by going to nomadathlete.com/escape. And of course, in addition to that, we are giving away Complement nutrients. Carly from Plant U is involved in this giveaway as well. So we're giving away her book and a year of her meal planner. So there's just all kinds of stuff that not just for the grand prize winner, but for all kinds of people. So nomeatathlete.com/escape. You can enter to win. And it's going to be pretty cool for whoever wins.
Very nice. What was the policy change that allowed for Canadians to now be eligible? Was that just a company said, we're just going to let them in? Or was it a law change? We get lawyers involved? What happened?
It was, we got the lawyers involved to make sure we could do it. I guess they had told us we couldn't do it, and now they told us we could. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So now we can.
Good. All
Yeah,
right.
it's awesome. So definitely go.
All right. Good. All right. NoMeAthlete.com/escape.
That's
Win
right. No, we
your
have
win
that.
your great
Yeah.
escape.
Actually, the reason we got the lawyers back involved is because I was just like, Mr. Jeffrey has to be able to enter to win this thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I know. So we probably paid a couple $1,000s for that lawyer to tell us
Yeah.
the new outcome.
Yep.
Good. All right. All right. Well, that all sounds good. Let's see. Nothing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was ready to say short week, but they're all short weeks. Tuesday through Thursday. So, yeah, I guess we'll just jump into our weather report. I got my sound machine working. I think it's the website is bad. I might need to find a whole new website instead of myinstance.com with all the buttons I get to press to make noises. But we'll just go with it. All right, are we ready, Doug?
The weather report.
Okay.
Weather.
Here it is. MorningStar Farms, which one of the biggest brands as far as I'm concerned. It's Kellogg's subsidiary. You always see their products in the plant-based section. I mean, that's the one, maybe the most prominent product there.
They've been around for a long time too, I'd say.
They have, and not all their stuff is vegan, but recently more of it is. They are introducing their latest offering, the Steakhouse Style Burger, in a move to cater to the taste preferences of omnivores. So they're making a burger that here's how their differentiation. It's meant to mimic the taste and texture of real meat.
Peak.
Yeah, it says it comes at a time when the plant-based burger market is seemingly saturated. Yet they are that's what they're doing. Yet they're trying to mimic the taste and texture of real meat. 42% less fat than beef. Nothing we haven't heard before. 21 grams of protein, fully vegan. They also already have the incognito burger. So I don't really know what they're doing here with Steakhouse Style. Maybe it's a little fatter. We know these meat companies, or these fake meat companies, like to change the shapes of the burger and call it a new product. So maybe this one's just a little fatter. I don't know, but it's Steakhouse Style. It'll be in Walmart, Publix, and Target. And I like, who makes the ultimate stuff? Is that MorningStar Farms? That might be Gardein, huh? Ultimate chicken patty or whatever it's called.
That is one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty good. Yeah, that's a Gardein product. So Gardein has an ultimate line. I don't know what the difference is with that and the regular stuff.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
I recently have been buying Boca burgers for the children.
Really?
Aaron and I are on this slow carb diet thing, and that involves some meals that Holden doesn't like because he doesn't eat a lot of beans, and their beans are in every meal for us. So I'm buying more of these plant-based burgers than I have before, and I don't know. I just somehow like they don't seem over the top. They don't have coconut oil in them, and they don't. I don't know. It's kind of bland tasting, I guess, by comparison, but it's cheap and seems like it's not that many ingredients.
They're soy-based. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. And I have no problem with soy. I mean, you can pay more and have pea protein base, but otherwise similar ingredient list. But it's not bad. They have the contains 2% or less of sub list that always has the UPFs in it, ultra processed food. But it's not so bad. I mean, it's okay. So I've been doing.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've had a Boca burger, but we do get the if we're gonna get nuggets for the kids, it's usually the Boca nuggets. In part because they don't taste much different than like the Impossible ones and stuff, and they're a fraction of the price. I mean, they're just so much cheaper.
The Boca stuff is cheaper, so that's why it is attractive. All right, Steven says he had a VFC breaded chicken fillet with lunch. That was good. See, they have VFC over there. Great. Yeah, I don't. Steven, tell us, is VFC sold in fast food stores, like fast food restaurants, or just frozen? Because I keep hearing the name. I swear I saw it once, like in display window, as if it was in a fast food restaurant. But other data points tell me that it is not. So I don't know about that. All right, on to the next item. Another plant-based product coming. MALK Organics. I think people know of MALK, M-A-L-K. It's from Austin. They debuted the new Holiday Nog today at the Natural Products Expo East. Doug, I know when it turns fall to you, your mind goes to one place, and that is Nog. They have one. It's a relatively clean label. Has no additives, gums, oils, or fillers, and only filtered water, organic almonds, maple syrup, and nutmeg extract. Oh, and Himalayan pink salt. That's the whole ingredient list. There's no stabilizers or thickeners or anything. So that is a nog that, as long as you don't mind a little bit of sugar, you can drink that as a health fooder who doesn't want to have UPF. So
are you a nogger?
No, I really have never ever like had a decent amount of time. I've had little sips of it, but I've never like had multiple drinks in a season. So I don't know. I'm not. It seems like a nice little drink, but I don't know. Just never really have had it. You like it, right?
I do. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I probably get like 2 jugs a year. Around Christmas time or
from Trader
whatever.
Joe's.
I do like the Trader Joe's one a lot. Yeah, you can actually get it. Soy makes one, but it's a lot thinner.
Who's soy?
Soy, so delicious.
So
the
delicious?
soy milk.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
they make one.
Okay.
But it's a little thinner than the one at Trader Joe's. So that's a good one.
And do they have alcohol in them, or you have to add alcohol?
You have to add alcohol.
What alcohol gets added? Brandy?
Yeah, brandy or rum. I think rum.
People keep brandy in their house. I don't even see brandy anywhere. You have brandy in your house?
Just go to the liquor store. No, I don't have. If I add anything, it's usually rum or bourbon. But oftentimes I just drink it like as a little dessert, just a little cup of it.
Nothing, no alcohol in it.
With no alcohol. Very good.
Well, I just need to see what alcohol goes in there. Brandy is the most traditional, but you can also use a mixture of dark rum and cognac.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Jeffrey says Nog and bourbon is A-okay.
Well, if I'm going to try one, I'm going to get the real thing. But then I got to buy a whole bottle of brandy, and I'm not going to drink that.
I'm sure you can get a little bottle of brandy.
Like an airplane bottle?
No, like a.
I'll never drink
250. I don't know. What's the small size?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
No idea. I'll probably wait till I go to some sort of party. No, the party's not going to have a vegan one, though. I'll probably still won't have eggnog this season. That'd be my guess. Okay, on to the next. Researchers from an Italian university are studying how to obtain chicken meat from a feather, tells us Veg Economist. This has already kind of happened because last week we talked about Just Food, or maybe it's Just Meat, who makes the Just Egg. Good Meat is the division of this company that has a sister company, which is Just Egg. Anyway, they said they've been working on this as well, and they have. But this company, apparently they have done it. The experiment is complete. They have obtained the cells from feathers obtained through petting the chicken. Petting the chick. So it's even a tiny chick rather than feathers that have fallen to the ground. So I don't know what's wrong with the feathers that have fallen to the ground spontaneously. But I guess maybe they're dead or something. I don't know. Maybe they're not as good. But pet the chicken, and I guess if you slide off that way.
How aggressively do you have to pet the chicken?
Right. Who knows? And would that be considered cruelty if you're like mostly giving it nice pets, but you're also taking something that comes off it? I don't know. Anyway, so they've done that, and they've obtained tens of millions of cells from a few cells after just a few months of doing whatever it is they do in those bioreactors, or I don't know. So anyway, I mean, every week it seems like there's kind of some new, interesting, mind-blowing research that's happening with this, and that's
pretty cool. To get it off of a feather is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, right. I mean, it just doesn't sound like getting a biopsy kind of whatever blood draw or something. So yeah, good. I'm glad. All right, less rosy news for the plant-based world. Hooray Foods and Nowadays, which are two San Francisco-based meat alternative startups, have gone out of business. The good news is I didn't know either one of these brands and couldn't figure out what products they made. They were VC backed, like they had some money behind them, but did not work. They're blaming the economy and things like that rather than themselves. And Meaty Foods, which Bianca famously barfed up after eating for the first time. I tried both of their foods and thought the steak was really good. It's made from mycelium, which I guess some people have an allergy or intolerance to, and that's Bianca. Speaking of which, Bianca never, well, I don't go on the Discord that much, but she never said, "Hey, thanks, Matt, for putting up the episodes today." She did. Okay.
She gave you a shout out.
I'm all about calling people out for stuff that I haven't really fully checked.
I know.
To see if
you're good at that. You're good at that. Yeah.
All right. So Meaty, they've laid off 10% of their workforce, but this one, they're saying structural reorganization, and they're doing all kinds of great stuff. They're saying Meaty is a young, disruptive company navigating uncharted territory. Each of these factors require us to regularly evaluate every aspect of our operations. So anyway, 60 people lost their jobs, but apparently it's in service of the greater good, which is this company, who they think the company thinks they're going to become #1 U.S. market leader by 2025 in plant-based meat. I mean, I don't know, Beyond and Impossible are obviously way, way ahead, but the meaty stuff is different and tastes better. But I wonder what percentage of people can't eat it because of the allergy thing.
What percentage of people is 60 60 positions. I wonder, like, what percentage of the
10%.
company?
10%.
Oh, 10%. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not too big.
So they have
I mean,
600.
I think that makes sense, right? Like, you're in this kind of phase where you're probably rapidly growing. Now
Yeah.
you have some products and you got to shift things around a little bit, get a little leaner, a little meaner.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't sound that crazy to me. Let's see. Here's one more. Actually, no, I got two more. I didn't know about this, but the World Health Organization came out in July saying that aspartame is possibly carcinogenic, which I'm surprised it took them that long, because I remember when I was a kid, in a Friendly's restaurant. You know Friendly's, Doug?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think not everyone has Friendly's, but you did. I remember reading on like a little packet of a pink thing, sweet and low, or maybe it was a yellow packet, and it said this product contains saccharin. Oh, that was saccharin. Never mind, different thing.
Great story.
Yeah. I thought that in my head already when I read this, and I was like, what took them so long? So this is aspartame. I don't really know what aspartame is often in, but I know it's in diet sodas, and that is what consumers.
That's probably what it's often in, right?
Right. I mean, that must be the main thing. But anyway, consumers not deterred by this at all. Since then, since May, when this announcement was made, the consumption intent, which they measure by how many people say they plan to consume a specific brand during the next 12 months, minus those who will say they will drink less. So they get a net change in what's expected to happen. Top diet soda brands grew by 2%, which outpaced regular sodas, which saw a 1% rise. So, first of all, it's kind of strange to me that just more people kind of plan on drinking more soda than drinking less soda. Just with soda being this thing that's like universally everyone drinks too much of it. And I think everyone knows they drink too much of it. It's funny that like people they don't even intend to drink less. Like they tend to drink more. I can understand.
I can understand drink more soda.
Right. I can understand if every year they like intend to drink less and they never manage to, and maybe they even end up drinking more. But we're at the point where people are intending to drink more. Maybe because of the great marketing with AI created recipes and all that. I don't know. But for whatever reason, people want more soda, and they want twice as much of the diet soda despite this announcement. Because I don't think anybody knows this. I missed this, and I don't think anyone else probably heard it. Because it's not on a certain side, right? Everyone is against big soda or whatever it is. But if this was a vegan announcement or a paleo friendly announcement, right? You get the other side all up in arms about it. In this case, no one cares because everyone agrees. So therefore, no one hears about it.
I mean, that can't be the only ingredient in soda that's possibly carcinogenic, right?
Well, according to the World Health Organization, and I think they have some strict things. By the way, they are the ones who said that meat or processed meat is also that. Not possibly, but it is actually carcinogenic. And I think regular meat is maybe in the possible category or slightly lower than the processed meat. So yeah, I don't know. Doug, you plan to drink more soda or less this coming year? Or the same?
Good question. I'm going to stay the same.
Same thing. I think I'm going to stay the same too. Not planning on changing my soda habits at age 43. Just no reason to change that.
No. How many sodas do you think you drink a month?
A month? Half. I'd say every 2 months I'll get one.
I'd say I'm a little less than that. Maybe 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when you get it. If you keep it that rare, it's a delicious thing. Okay, next one. American fast food.
Airplanes are kind of my go-to. If I flew more, maybe I would drink more soda.
Yeah, if I'm ordering a drink on a plane and it's not just water, it's gonna be alcohol. It's just I'm not gonna bypass that opportunity. Actually, that's not always true because sometimes it costs money.
Most of the time it costs money.
Well, I'm used to flying to Europe, Doug. When I fly, it's typically
when you fly to Europe, first class. Different story, but
with the Europe flights, even if you're not first class, it's always free booze on the way over there and on the way back. So that's what I'm talking about. But I guess if it was the morning, I'd get something that wasn't. Now then, I'd get coffee. So I will not get any airplane soda.
Oh, you do drink coffee on a plane?
Yes, I would do that. Why is that a bad thing?
There's lots of people who believe that you should never drink coffee.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because of the water tanks, where the water comes from.
They're too close to the bathrooms.
That they only have to get clean. I think it's like twice a year or something, and there's all this like I think a lot of it is studies from like the 60s and stuff when probably sanitation was not nearly as good as it is today. But yeah, there's like this big thing about you shouldn't drink coffee on a plane.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but that will make me think twice for sure. So
now I've ruined it for you.
yeah,
Sorry.
definitely. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't forget those kind of
Steven,
attacks.
we need our
What do we got?
airline correspondent to weigh in on this.
Yeah, we do. We need him to come in and defend his industry. I've got more European news though, Steven, so you can jump in and knock out two answers in one here. Popeyes, good old Southern food at its finest, Southern American food, has launched their first Scottish restaurant, which prompted Glaswegians. I guess that's Glasgow. Is that how you say the name of the Scottish capital?
Sure.
Well, I don't know. I'm surprised they're called Glaswegians, but they are. Anyway, they lined up for 18 hours overnight just to taste these signature chicken burgers. They apparently Popeyes broke the internet after a successful campaign, which made the restaurant go viral online. I never knew about that.
Yeah, I don't think it broke it very well.
Right. But anyway, the Scotland police had to issue a statement. The roads were blocked for too long. People trying to get these New Orleans-inspired burgers. And I don't know why they're calling them burgers, because I don't think anyone calls it a chicken burger. That would be like ground chicken thing you get for school lunch 30 years ago. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if Popeyes is advertising them that when they're in Europe or something. But anyway, that happened. And then the article by Yahoo News went into, what does this mean for veganism? Like, this is bad for vegans, and what are activists getting worried? I don't understand how they made this connection. Why didn't they just leave it at, Popeyes opened in Scotland and people got excited? But they did. And thankfully, I learned something from it. And that is because PETA chimed in on the issue and said, while Popeyes might not have vegan chicken on the menu yet, it does offer the Creole red bean sandwich for those looking for Southern fried flavor without the cruelty. And apparently that's the same as they had on the UK launch. England, Scotland, and Wales is the UK. So they had a UK launch. They had this Creole red bean sandwich on there, and it remains on the menu for the Scottish launch. I don't know if they're careful about making stuff in separate oil or whatever. I would be really surprised if they were, but maybe people get it enough that it's worth it over there, because PETA is calling it vegan, and I don't think PETA would call it vegan if it was in the same thing. So
I'm happy that PETA is weighing in on a positive thing about a non-vegan restaurant.
Yeah, you're right. They could have gone there and put blood all over themselves or something, but instead they commended them for making a red bean sandwich. I would love to get a red bean sandwich like that. That sounds pretty good. I mean, I don't know how good a bean patty fried would be, but if it has those New Orleans style spices, I think I would be into it. So I'd like to get over there and try that. Doug, you like Popeyes?
There's one right in Swannanoa, right near your dad's house.
Yeah, but it's not going to have the Creole red bean sandwich. This is just in UK and Scotland.
Oh, that's just the UK. Yeah.
Right.
Never mind.
Right. But yeah, I know. Like everything, just the UK. Happens quite a lot. All right, and then finally some good news. By the way, I saw today, I think I opened 4 or 5 different articles that were like, watch out for these side effects of a plant-based diet. Woman is going vegan was the biggest mistake of her life, and now she's carnivore and she only eats eggs and meat. Just 5 different articles of companies just trying to jump on the bandwagon of plant-based is bad. Watch out for the side effects. But here's the good news. A recent study by Ernst Young, it was funded by Protein Industries Canada, and I believe Protein Industries Canada wants to sell more plant-based meat. I'm guessing, not positive. I didn't look that deeply. So anyway, they funded this. They paid these consultants, Ernst Young, to do this project. But what they projected in that was that global plant-based meat sales will soar from $16.5 billion in 2021, and that was kind of a peak moment, I think. I mean, maybe it's grown a little since then, but that seemed to be the peak excitement. To $139.4 billion by 2035. So that's a growth rate of 16.5% per year between those 14-year different periods.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. Everyone else is saying plant-based is dead, or these plant-based products, including me, and they're saying the opposite. So I don't know. They said it's been challenging times in the plant-based food space and in ingredient manufacturing in general, but the fundamentals underpinning the growth are still very strong. And this is short-term market downturn, but long-term, the findings suggest the growth of the plant-based food sector will be significant, which is what you and I said for, I'd say, about a month. And then I got impatient and I said, nope, it's dead. Done. So
I'm not on the dead wagon.
No, you're on the Ernst Young wagon. Although you haven't really said it's going to explode in growth either. You said I think there's always going to be a place for this.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I wouldn't have said that it's going to grow 16% year over year, but or 9.5%.
I put some stock in that, right? Ernst Young, as far as I know, these kind of consultants, I don't know if the consultants, obviously, I'm sure it happens, that they get swayed to kind of outcome or the company might try to get the results to go one way so that they can then do PR about it or whatever. So not that Ernst Young is immune to the, issues surrounding funding and conflicts of interest than other researchers are. But still, I don't know. They're in the business of making accurate projections. I think that's their job. So I think it sounds fairly unbiased, and they're not shying away from betting on plant-based. So I think that's a pretty big deal. They did use data from the Food and Agriculture Organization and Good Food Institute, which Good Food Institute, they're always on the plant-based side. In all these articles, they chime in with a plant-based take. So I'd be careful with their data. I think there are some Good Food Institute listeners here, so I don't mean to offend. I'm just thinking transparent, just trying to dig here and say what could make this thing as high as it is. So
you always gotta look for the negative, Matt.
I do. You're right. I mean, you got healthy skepticism. I think is important. Okay, so there's your weather report.
I liked it. It was a good one. Nice Tuesday weather report. We should should we catch up on some comments here?
Yes, go for it.
All right. So Steven, this is going way back to the VFC.
Okay.
Says that I've only seen it frozen in supermarkets, but could be on menus. Not sure.
Okay.
And then Kate Rivercat says the media has started some sort of regular delivery service for a crazy amount of money.
The what?
Meaty has started a regular delivery service, like a meaty delivery service.
Wow.
But it's expensive.
Interesting.
And let's see. And going back to the coffee thing, Steven's putting boiling hot coffee water on my my rumor there and saying that he's never heard that before.
I think it's cold water. He's putting cold water on your rumor.
Cold water.
Yeah, he says, but boiling the water would surely kill lots of bacteria. Yes, but Stephen, the issue is not the actual bacteria; it's the grossness of the thing. That's the real problem.
But he wouldn't be surprised if the system isn't cleaned very often, but the water is replaced every day, every flight.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Jeffrey says chicken burger is used in UK and Canada when it's a chicken breast as well as a ground patty. Okay, so that's new to me. I've never heard that be called a chicken burger. That's just a chicken sandwich, in my opinion, if it's a full patty. Okay. Let's see. So Garuda Legends. Every now and then Garuda Legends chimes in with something interesting here. The health awareness of food is shifting. I don't see vegan meat growing in a decade since it is an ultra-processed food. Yeah, I think that's where most people would come out if we polled people, even vegans. It's hard to imagine it exploding, but this unbiased, maybe, source, Ernst Young, says that it is. Maybe they're not in as deep as we are. Maybe they don't look at the headlines every day like we do and not realize what's going on.
Or maybe the headlines are swaying our opinion.
Yeah, possible. That's a good point.
Maybe people don't care about ultra-processed foods as much as we think they do.
Yeah, that one friend of yours doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
They never even heard of it. There we go. All right, let's get to our article of the day. I thought this was a kind of interesting one. It's from greenqueen.com.hk. How do you get a .com.hk? I don't understand how they get that domain. How can you have two dot things at the end? I know you can get it at before, and I know you can get a dot, country code, but how do you get a .com.country code?
I don't know, but there is a greenqueen.com, and it is different than the .com.hk.
Huh. Okay.
It's a personal website for Mary the Green Queen.
Okay.
Artist, activist, writer, and divine prosper.
All right.
Divine prosper. All right. Anyway.
.hk is a Hong Kong domain name. All right. Here's a wild theory. Maybe they registered com.hk and then they made Green Queen a subdomain of that. Could anyone do com.hk? I mean, if I had that, I would make it google.com.hk and not Green Queen. I'd put something way more valuable on there to squat with. But that'd be a pretty good move if they did that.
That would be a good move.
All right. So the headline is Smart Menus, How to Get Meat Eaters to Choose Plant-Based Dishes. And we've talked recently about different surveys or studies here and there where they, compare two menus and do it to a test audience and see how many people take the plant-based option when it's presented different ways. I think what we've seen before is that if they don't call something vegetarian or vegan, but instead just list out all the ingredients, people will be more likely to choose that item than if is marked as vegetarian or vegan when it's alongside all these other meat dishes.
And also plant-based, more likely to choose plant-based over vegan.
People like plant-based over vegan. Yes, generally. So anyway, I think they kind of pulled a bunch of stuff together. They talked to somebody. There was a Rethink study, it was called. And I think that sort of Rethink Priorities did this big study. I think it was sort of a meta-analysis where they looked at a bunch of studies and things. But they came up with some things that I have never heard of. So we'll run quickly through those. They said, number one, and this is the way to get people to consume more plant-based dishes. If you're a restaurant or an organization and you want people to consume more plant-based or meat-free, whatever you want to call it, dishes, then here's how to do it. And once we get through them, I'll talk a little bit about one of the questions I have, which is why are restaurants wanting to do this? Number one, provide at least 3 or more meat-free dishes. They found that when there are 3 meat-free options, 66% on the menu, it's not that. I think it's when people were more likely to select. So 66% of people selected one when there were 3 on the menu compared to when there are only 2. And I don't know if this is, a certain specific study where they had X number of total items and, 3 or 2 was the test variable. I'm guessing that's what it was. So I don't think 3 and 2 is the important thing here. I think it's the message is the more meat-free options you have, the more likely someone's going to take one. So that's not totally obvious, right? I mean, it sounds at first like it is like, okay, yeah, if more of the menu is meat-free, then more people are going to pick it. But people aren't just picking throwing a dart at the menu and picking it. I would think that a meat eater is going to find the meat option on the menu, and it doesn't matter how many meatless options you put. But if there's the 1 or 2 meat options, they're just going to go with that no matter how many other alternatives there are. But that's wrong. And the more meat-free options there are, the more people will take. So
I think that, if the meat-free option is one that just doesn't sound very good to you, you're definitely not going to take it.
Right.
Unless you're vegan or whatever. But if something actually sounds pretty good and you're like, oh yeah, I could take that.
Yeah. And that's kind of surprising because I think meat eaters now maybe are different than I was when I was just out of college kid eating meat. But if I went to a vegetarian restaurant and they had a meat option, which happens sometimes, there was a place in Baltimore, I kind of forget the name of it. But they had that. They had a fish option. And I would always go get that meat because I felt like I wasn't really getting lunch if I didn't have meat on my plate. And so that's why I'm kind of surprised that people do actually, if the plant-based thing sounds good enough, they'll pick it rather than just insist on getting the meat dish. But I'm glad to hear that. It means people are more open-minded than I was back then.
This is a question for Mr. Jeffrey, maybe, or chef correspondent. I wonder how, I guess it depends on the restaurant, but how much more expensive is it to add an extra menu item? How much trouble is it for a restaurant to add an extra menu item?
So at the end of this article, they talk about that a little bit, and it relates to my question here as to what's the point of trying to get people to eat more? Is it because you want your restaurant to make more money? I don't think so, because that's typically, you don't think add plant-based dishes is the way to do that. If we're trying to think about all these tricks to get people to order more of them, why not just, make the menu more of the stuff that you don't need to have tricks to get people to order more of, unless you've got some other greater goal than just profiting. And I don't know how many restaurants realistically really do have that. But anyway, we will continue, and he can chime in and we'll see what he says. There was other research, by the way, that confirmed this same thing. They had menus that were 25%, 50%, or 75% vegetarian, and the ones who that had 75%, they people ordered the most plant-based dishes. So not surprising, but in a way, kind of surprising. All right, number 2, don't worry too much about using plant-based meats. And apparently, the idea here is that they were not, when they tested menus that had plant-based meats on them versus those that just had plant-based dishes that weren't plant-based meats, they did about equally well. They could not tell, they were not significantly associated that plant-based meat analogs were not significantly associated with more options being ordered. So either enough people are completely against those that they just will not touch them, or people just don't care that much. And sometimes it's possible that a different dish will sound better. So it just apparently doesn't matter that much. They note, though, they did not include the prominent meat analogs. So they didn't have an Impossible Burger on there. And I think that brand name probably does attract some orders. It certainly does for me. if I see that, I'll think that's gonna be a reliable, plant-based patty. So I don't know, not too much we can conclude there without those on there. Number 3, avoid naming tofu in dishes. So I didn't fully understand the mechanics of how they figured this out.
Yeah, I was confused as well.
Yeah, or how they inferred this. But basically, it sounded like if you put tofu into the menu item name, people were less likely to get it, compared maybe to putting other names like vegetarian schnitzel. And I don't know if it's just a wording, like if the schnitzel was made from tofu and then you actually say the word tofu, if that was the problem. I don't know. But apparently people don't really like ordering tofu. That's
tofu schnitzel versus vegetarian schnitzel.
Right. That's I'm not sure if that's what they meant. It wasn't totally clear how they did this, but I can see that being the case. I think a typical meat eater thinks tofu is not good. They just think it's a strange texture and doesn't taste like anything. And I definitely felt that way before I ate a bunch of it. So not surprising there. This one's interesting. Number 4, say no to poultry and seafood on your menu. So I think people or companies, restaurants that are trying to have a more sustainable, maybe more ethical menu, they will put these instead of the larger animals, the red meats on there. I know when I went vegetarian first, I eliminated those red meats, the 4-legged animals, for like a whole year before I went any further with it, because those were the ones that felt to me the worst eating. Not physically, but I just felt ethically the worst about eating those animals. But apparently, if you put those on your menu, a lot of the people who would have picked a plant-based item will take those. But if those things aren't present, fish or chicken options, and it's just, either beef, red meat, pork, I guess, compared to plant-based, then you get a lot more people taking plant-based. So that's a very interesting thing. What I wondered, though, is like, is it way better for the environment or for ethics? And we can't answer the ethics question really, but is it way better when people choose fish or chicken over red meat? Like, are they significantly better choices, or are they just, basically the same thing?
I think for the environment, they are better choices, right? Ethics, I don't know if you can say that. But here's my question is, are people more likely to, like, let's say you eliminate chicken or fish, obviously you're going to get more people choosing the vegetarian option, but are more people also going to be choosing the meat option than like the fish or chicken? Like, how does that split happen? Does that make sense? Like, of the people who are ordering fish or chicken, are more of them going to vegetarian or more of them going to meat and just kind of bumping up the vegetarian?
Well, we probably could figure that out. I mean, they say those containing no fish or chicken saw a meat-free adoption of 64%, compared to 62% for menus with 1 chicken or fish dish, and 52% for those with 2 such food options. So when you have no fish or chicken, you've got 36% of people getting the red meat other option. When you've got 1, then you've got at least 2% of people are now taking that chicken or fish, and when you've got 2,
those numbers don't make sense to me. Like, there's no way that
it's a little strange
that a menu with everything on it, vegetarian dishes, meat dishes, chicken dishes, that 62% of the people are choosing vegetarian dishes.
It doesn't make sense, and
that's not true,
right? And the numbers at the beginning didn't either, so I'm not sure like what group of people they got to take these. Were the people? This says it was students. Well, it's different studies. They said that they're combining. So are some of these people like already kind of in it because they're interested in this food? I don't really know. The numbers just seem too high. That's right. But I do think it sounds to me like the message is if you have fish or chicken, when you remove the fish or chicken, some of those people are going to go to the red meat, and some of them, a decent amount, because it went from 64 down to 52 when you have 2 of those options on there. So some of the people will go to the plant-based if you remove the chicken or the fish. So I don't know. It sounds like a significant thing.
Definitely.
But then the researchers say this highlights the potential for welfare losses from substitution towards small-bodied animals from menu changes, as well as shifts in consumer preferences. So it's odd that they emphasize small-bodied animals there. I don't know if they're implying like an ethical thing, like that more animals have to get killed to make the same amount of food when the animals are smaller bodied. I just don't understand that. And that whole argument, that would be a complicated one. So I don't know what they're going for there, but still interesting that you think you're doing a good thing as a restaurant by having the chicken or fish. If you're, if you think red meat's not the best choice, the healthiest, most sustainable, whatever. But then you actually get less people taking the plant-based option. So it's a trade-off, and I don't know what's better. This other one, I think we've heard this before. If you add high impact climate labels to reduce, if you add high impact climate labels, then you reduce beef orders. And this is from Johns Hopkins. We saw this somewhere that said if you have the label, sometimes it'll say things like, I think every now and then you'll see a restaurant menu that will say this is particularly high in whatever saturated fat, calories. Usually it's the opposite way, where it'll say this is a healthy option on the menu.
Right.
But like if you had that thing for climate stuff, apparently people will respond to that. They will order less of the red meat if you put high climate impact on those things. So there's another idea, and so that's the main takeaways here. But the bottom section of this, and this is kind of what you asked Mr. Jeffrey about, says restaurants are often scared to take menu risks, but they pay off. And so it's not really this site obviously wants people to eat more plant-based food, so they're going to say it pays off. I just don't understand really quite like who is doing this. Like maybe there are some restaurants that just care so much about the climate that they just cannot live with the fact that their restaurant serves this much red meat or whatever, and they just want to change it. But it just seems like for the vast majority of people running restaurants, like you got to do what you can to make as much money as you can because it's pretty hard. And so I'm just thinking like there's probably not that much room for this unless you think people want it and they want to be part of a restaurant that serves much less meat and more sustainable options. But if that were the case, then I don't know. It just seems like we shouldn't need to do these things to try to get people to order more plant-based dishes. We just put the plant-based things on there because if people want them, they'll get them. So I don't really understand like who's going to actually do this stuff unless it's a PR move and they want to say that, we serve way less meat.
I mean, that could be, right? Like you get new clients because of that. I also think that there's quite a few restaurants that choose more environmentally friendly things, like I don't know, paper straws or whatever, that's maybe more expensive and maybe less like customer friendly, but it's just better for like lowering their impact and people are attracted to that. Some people want to support a restaurant that's making that type of choice and that type of decision. Right. So maybe like they're like, I'd love for our menu to be a little more vegetarian forward. Mm-hmm. And so how can we get people to actually eat it? I don't know. I think that certain restaurants would benefit from this information.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess that makes sense. So let's say you own a restaurant and you say, I would like to get my restaurant to be serving only 25% of its dishes be meat, because then it will be perceived as a restaurant that is sustainable and people are going to come. And even if they are ordering the meat, they're likely to come because they want to be part of this whole sustainable situation, right? Even if it's someone who's not, but I need to make sure those vegan dishes on the menu pay for themselves and don't cost me money. So I got to get people to eat them. So I guess that makes sense. I think that's a reasonable answer. All right, Mr. Jeffrey, chime in on us. I mean, at first I thought, by the way, that this stuff was going to be cheaper. And like, I think if you make a plant-based dish that doesn't have the fake meat in it or fake cheese or other processed junk like that, like that's pretty cheap, right? We talk about that all the time, that if you eat a plant-based diet with beans and grains as the main calorie sources, then your food suddenly gets way cheaper. And so this must be true for restaurants. If you don't have meat there, it's got to be cheaper and they must like that. And so that right there is kind of enough. Like if your vegan stuff is profit centers when people buy it, then trying to get people to eat more of it is in line with good old capitalism.
And vegan restaurant or vegan menu items are often no cheaper than meat menu items, even though I'm sure they're cheaper to make. Yeah. So this was a question of like how much trouble is it for a restaurant to add an extra menu item? And he says it depends on a ton of factors. The biggest cost is bringing in new items, but if they are plant-based variations, then it's pretty cheap to do. But I was thinking about this, and I think a factor maybe ignored is when I see 3+ vegan options, I'm more willing to go to that place as a vegan, of course. Mm-hmm. Because they're more likely to be thought out, which is definitely true, like not just the vegetable plate, right? And B, I have more options, which is good. So maybe it brings in more people overall. One thing to note is often the vegan option can be more profitable to the restaurant. So there's that incentive.
Yeah. I mean, that all makes sense. Good. Okay. I'm sold. When I open my restaurant, I'm going to put some meatless dishes on the menu. I'm convinced. I'm not going to do the carnivore restaurant I was planning anymore.
just all meat and butter. All right, so we have more weather report news. Breaking weather report.
Good.
News
Someone else is on
from
weather report.
Steven.
Okay.
The plant-based McCrocket, which we talked about the other day.
The McCroquette is the name.
Croquette.
How you pronounce it. Yep.
McCrocket. Davey McCrocket. Here in the Netherlands has started a bit of a culture war and is now as
now they can only serve the veggie one. I think he accidentally.
It's
now
number one trend on Dutch Twitter today.
So I guess McCrocket used to have a non-vegan version of it, and they have discontinued that. Not the McCrocket, the McCroquette. That they've discontinued the regular one and now only serve the plant-based. I mean, that makes sense. It's a patty filled with like mushy stuff. That, I mean, who cares? Like, and they're good. I like croquettes. They're nice. But if you were a meat eater, like, does it make that much difference if this stuff, which is probably mostly potato, whether it has little tiny bits of regular meat in it or just plant-based meat or none? I don't see what the big deal is. But people, I guess, like to fight about anything. We know that.
They do. That is for sure.
Mr. Jeffrey, related to Davy Crockett. That's even bigger news.
Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, that's all we got today. So we'll be back tomorrow. And nothing else. No more like to be continued sagas or anything. Hope your injury, Doug, heals up a little bit. I'll have a concussion report for you. That's it.
Yeah, sounds great. We'll see you tomorrow. All
right, hey, one reminder about the thing. Sweepstakes,
yes.
Right? What is it? NoMeatAthlete.com/escape. Go there and win your great escape to the resort. Are we allowed to say the resort name? I noticed you didn't say it, Doug. Am I not supposed to say it?
We do. I just didn't. I couldn't remember it off the top of my head.
Palmaya, right?
No, not Palmaya.
No?
Nope.
No. That's probably why we shouldn't say it. Don't say the wrong one.
They were part of an old one. An old sweepstakes. It's Azul. Man, this is not good. Okay. No me olvides. Azul no me olvides.
Blue, don't forget me.
No me olvides. No me olvides.
Blue, don't forget me.
Because it's right on Bacalar's Blue Lake in Mexico, which, I mean, it looks like a blue ocean. It's crazy. This lake is wildly beautiful. And I guess don't forget me. Maybe, I don't know. But in the Mayan jungle, absolutely stunning. NoMeatAthlete.com/escape. You get a free
.com.hk.
Yes. NoMeatAthlete. No. You get a free Boho Bowls cookbook from our friends Angela and Hank.
If you win, the winner, or is this
everybody does, just for signing up, and a discount on your next compliment order. So there you go. No reason not to sign up. This is all good things.
Are there other winners, or is it winner take all? Other than the fact that everybody wins because they win that cookbook.
There are 3 winners. Only one gets the trip.
What do you get? Blendtec if you're number 2 or 3?
Number 2, you get a whole bunch of compliment stuff. You get the Plant You cookbook, Plant You meal planner, and then second runner up gets a whole bunch of compliment stuff. So there's really, I mean, it's great. It's great all around. Fantastic. You should go NoMeatAthlete.com/escape and sign up today. Enter to win today.
All right. Sounds good. All right, everyone, have a good day. We'll be back and we'll talk to you on Wednesday.